those to me is some of the key things that we need to do. And in so doing, we also, I talked to you about the middle class effort that we have. There's a series of 16 bills. I have one bill, and I mentioned it when I was on the Rick Riccardi show. I mentioned the Phil Leach bill that deregulated the same industry we're having trouble. He said it wasn't a deregulation bill. Look at it. That's what allowed the banks and the investment banking to come together. If I'm the president of the bank and you're with the investment banking and you're there also and we're part of the board, you're on my board, I'm on your board, you think I'm going to hold you accountable? Hell no, because you're also on my board. You're going to put me on the squeeze on me. You cannot have that kind of conflict of interest because they're going to be just taking care of themselves. And the consumers are the ones going to be hurting. That is not taken care of with the existing situation and the bailout that we have right now. And so unless we take care of that, that's part of the problem. And so we got to make sure that we have people on those boards that are going to do the right thing and not just be there taking care of themselves. These are arrogant SOBs that are there. You can hear the hearings right now that are going on in Congress. And these are individuals that, and I'm really hoping that, because it's a lot of money we just gave them. It's a lot of money. And that's your money and not my money. And that's our future. But at the same time, they could easily be bailing out China, a bank in China, and at our expense, because they're also a part of this market. And so, because this is global, we got to get the other countries engaged. There is some positive things that are occurring from that perspective, and that they're getting, but we got to begin to look at that. And I know that you will probably come up with better ideas as to how to spend that money versus possibly doing what they've done. But that being said, I'm hoping that it works, but we're going to have to come back and continue to fight to do the right thing. One of the things that the cost of gasoline, everybody talked about really. Bottom line is also, you got to do all those and more. The value of the dollar has dropped in Europe. It's down almost down to 50 cents. And so that means that everything costs. Gasoline doubles and everything else. And so the only way you do bring it down is we got to pay our bills. One of the first things we did this session, and this is under a Democratic administration, and we established what we call pay-go. And we said that we were going to pay for everything that we did. When we did try to cover the 10 million children that the president vetoed, we paid for it on the House side. It got stripped, and some of it got stripped in the Senate. When we did this energy bill that I just talked to you about, we paid for it, and it got stripped in the Senate. In the first bill that was passed that I also voted against on the bailout, it was paid for. And it got stripped in the Senate, and they added additional stuff that's not paid for. We got to pay, just like with you. You cannot afford to continue to use your credit if you don't pay for it. Eventually, you're going to go broke, just like we're going broke. So, so one of the things is we got to do the right thing. This is the first war in recorded history, and you don't have to believe me. Just go out there and do your own research. That we have not had a tax to pay for it. It's actually, most war, and I will, and I'm not, it's way above my pay grade, but if you have I really believe that if you have a president that comes forth and says, look, we're in, we need to do the right thing when it comes to defending this country. We need to pay for this war. What happened was that during the last 7.5 years, we've had a lot of tax cuts, and it mainly has been for the rich. At the expense of the middle class. So we got to come back and revitalize the middle class. And we filed a variety of bills. One bill that I have is creating 401ks for regular individuals out there. We provide a 3% right now, if you're a federal employee, match. You're not going to, most people don't save money unless you do a match. If we do a match up to $1,000 with 3%, then you'll have a tendency to start your 401k. And you do that match because you're getting something in return. And so one of those is to get people to start doing saving money, and we would do the match from the federal level, as if you were working with the federal government like we do with federal employees. And so that would be a way of getting you to begin to save, because we need that in order to help in the process. So those are the things I just wanted to come by and talk to you a little bit about, and encourage you to continue to further your education. And so in closing, I don't know how long, let me just give you a couple of things that I think, that I usually share with young people. Leadership, there's a lot of research on leadership. One of the first characteristics of any leader, anyone who's been successful, has been a person that no matter where they've been, they continue to grow and develop. So they have an attitude about learning. They have an attitude about education that's an endless process. And I give the example of a janitor that started as a janitor and then became the head janitor for that school, and then became the main person in charge of all the schools, some 20-something schools, and this is a true story. And so that's a person who continues to grow and develop throughout their lifetime. They don't get their bachelor's and then stop growing, and we have a lot of people that do that. They don't get out of high school and just stop growing. You have to have that understanding that even if you have difficulty with reading now, difficulty with math, that learning is a continuous process. So any leader that you look at, you'll see that that's what they've done throughout their lives. No matter where they're at, they continue to grow and develop. So if you look at yourselves from that perspective, even if, and we all have handicaps, we all have problems. I couldn't stand in front of a classroom in school, and I did extra work not to do that. And so you identify your weaknesses, but you continue to grow and develop. And so that's one of the first characteristics of a leader. The second characteristic of anyone who's been successful is one that has basically worked at solving problems. And we all have them. You have individual problems, we have group problems, community problems, and national problems. And that's basically what I do as a member of Congress. People come to me, whether it's a city or a county or an individual, they come with problems. And and life is about solving problems. Whether it's I didn't make it here on time, and and the easiest thing to do, and the politicians, everybody does this, displace blame. Oh, it's the Republicans. It's because of them. Or it's Mama who didn't put the alarm clock and I'm late today. We all do it. That when you start taking responsibility, when you take ownership of that problem, and you can see this in people that are successful. These are individuals that took ownership of that problem. It's kind of like, I'm a social worker by profession. You can't help an alcoholic, you can't help it until they realize that they got a problem. So until you realize that that is your responsibility, whether it's the kids that are dropping out, you could easily say, well, that's not me, that's some other family, but that all impacts us. So when we take ownership of that problem, that's when we solve it. So leaders are those kind of people that see the problem and start working on solutions to them. And if you look at anyone that you think about, someone that you see as a leader, that's what they've done. And so number one, they see education as a continuous process. Number two, they view problems as areas of being able to overcome and make happen. Thirdly, any leader also, you have a lot of brilliant people out there. And you have, a lot of people have told me, Ciro, I want to run for Congress, or I want to run for mayor, or I want to start a business. I did a casework, so I had a person tell me that they wanted to go to college. And then for a whole year, they would tell me that they want to go to college. I told them, look, I don't want to hear that anymore. The day you register, then you can tell me. You can always find excuses like about going to college. You're never going to have enough money. It's never going. You got to make the sacrifice. And I know it's difficult because I had to work too. But you got to make that sacrifice. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Excuses are going to be there. And so, the next characteristic of any leader is that they got to be willing to take that risk, to run, to start their business, to run for office, to go to college, to move to another job. Those risk takers are the ones that grow and develop. Those are the ones that become the leaders. And there are brilliant people out there that at the end of their life, they said, I wish I would have done this. Don't let it be you. You at least give it a shot and go after it. Because that's